You're welcome back. You're still watching The Breakfast Show, and it's time for this conversation. Now, the clamor for constitutional reform is gaining renewed momentum as governors from South Nigeria, West region throw their weight behind key demands for state police and resource control. Now, after a high-level meeting, the governors emphasized that decentralizing the police structure is essential for tackling the country's growing security challenges. They also reiterated the need for greater fiscal federalism, arguing that states should have more control over the resources within their territories. Now, this position adds to growing national conversation around restructuring the urgent need to review Nigeria's 1999 constitution to reflect the realities and aspirations of the present day. Now, joining us in the studio for this conversation is public affairs analyst Mustapha Ewenla. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you in the studio. And he loves our studio, so it's nice to always have you here. All right, but I'll start with the fact that we're talking about state policing, and there have been conversations ongoing. We've spoken about it a lot of times, and now we're seeing some governors coming together from the Southwest and saying that this is needed now. You know, in your opinion, what do you think is the reason why something keeps holding this back? Because it seems like there's an intent to make it happen, but I don't want to say some group of people, but it seems like some people do not want it to happen.
So essentially, we must understand that state policing is actually a very welcome development. In developing countries just like America, Australia, Germany, Canada, they practice state policing. But we must also understand that environments are quite different, and the regional dynamics are quite different, and also the political maturity of these countries. But if you ask me, is Nigeria ripe for a state policing? In my opinion, I think is a no. And my reasons are very, very sincere. In a country where, since 25 years of our democracy, we still haven't gotten our political architecture, I mean, what's it called, our democracy right. If you look at what has been happening in our democracy since we took, we had it 25 years ago, you will see that there's still so many lapses here and there in our political space. And in the country where you want to implement state policing, I mean, it has more disadvantage than the advantages. And the disadvantage will now be that a lot of times we will see that the governors will now begin to use police for their personal use. It will now become very difficult for opponents to win elections. There's a lot of disadvantages that comes with it. If you look at countries that practice state policing, America, for example, when was the last time you heard about kidnappings in America? When was the last time you heard about farmers' headmen in America? We don't get to hear them.
No, so there are kidnappings in America.
Yes, but it's not as popular as we have in Nigeria.
It depends on what they focus on and what they frame in their news. It happens.
Yes, I agree with you, but it's not as popular as we have it here in Nigeria.
Because it's not our context.
Yes. So, so what I think, in my opinion, what I think the governors, this Southwest governors should do is to rather strengthening our existing police structure. If you have state policing, it does not totally put a stop to our insecurity issues. That's my opinion. Yeah. If you're strengthening the existing police architecture that we have, it will go a long way. Look at right now in Nigeria, we're a country of 220 million people. We have about 500,000 police officers. Yeah. Over time, some of us were thinking maybe it was a game of numbers. Maybe the police are outnumbered. We can see what played out during NSAS. It's not even a game of numbers. It's about the trainings given to these police officers. America is a population of 347 million people. The total police workforce is about 856,000. Yeah. The UK is a population of 69 million people. The total police workforce is about 170,000 police workforce. So, and their security issues are quite minimal there. Yeah. So it's not really about numbers. It's not until we make the whole country full of police officers here and there. That's when we are going to get our security issues correctly. Yeah. It's about making sure that these police go through training and they are properly remunerated. A commissioner of police in this country will retire to a pension of 70,000 pension. So why do you think that man is going to put his life on the job? A confirmed inspector will retire to a pension of 30,000 naira. Why do you think he's going to put his life on the job? Yeah. An average American police wakes up in the morning with the mind of not coming back home because he's ready to die for his country. Yes. These guys will pay for their health insurance, they will buy their own uniform, they will make arrangements for their own rifles. A lot of issues, so they are not well remunerated, and that's why they are not happy.
Okay, remuneration, political considerations, those are the points you have raised why you do not support state policing. But let us look at the pros of having a state police.
Yes.
you are going to employ people from the state.
The indigenous, yes.
Yes, and you are going to employ people that already know the terrain of the state.
Yes.
Now, imagine a police officer from Zamfara sent to Anambra State to take care of...
Language barrier, isn't it?
Language barrier, no knowledge of the terrain, so many things coming in between. That's what the governors are looking at. And they are not just looking at that state, these issues concerning policing, they are also looking at resource control.
Resource control.
If I have oil, I should be able to deal and wheel, if I may say, with what I have in my state. It's going to solve a whole lot of problems. Why don't you see it that way?
So I agree with you that state policing has its own advantages, but the disadvantages outweighs the advantage. The issue of funding will also be a problem. In a country where state government are still battling sometimes to pay salaries to civil servants, and you want to control your own police, you want to have your own police architecture, it might be a problem. Yes, it's good because if you encourage state policing, like I said earlier, it's a very beautiful idea. But knowing our peculiarity and with the level of our democracy right now, I don't think we are ripe for it. That's my honest opinion. But if it happens and we are able to get our political maturity correctly, I think it's something we should encourage. But I don't think that...
What about the resource control?
So resource control is actually a very, very important conversation too. If you look at the recent agitations from the PANDEF, which is the Pan-Nigeria Delta Forum, they have agitations. During the time of independence, when the founding father of the PANDEF, the Pan-Africa, the Pan-Nigeria Delta Forum, that comprises of about 9 states, the Akwa Ibom, the Bayelsa, the Delta, so it was clear that they had a certain agreement that the founding fathers, headed by Chief Edwin Clark, may so rest in peace, who passed on February this year, they had agitations and there were agreements that let the states control their resources. The northern part of the country have solid minerals. They have gold, they have lithium, they have tin. Let them control their resources and let us
control ours.
Pay a certain tax to the government as a levy from controlling our resources by ourselves. But that agreement was followed through until when the military era came through during the time of Aguiyi Ironsi. All that arrangement became a sham. And that's why they're saying, let's go back to the initial agreement during independence at 1960, where our founding fathers and this Pan Forum, I said that let's have this platform, let us be able to speak for our people. Let our people not be treated like second-class citizens, knowing that we're the owners of these mineral resources.
Yes.
But we saw that over time, that didn't play out well, and right now, that's what they're agitating for. So I think if every state controls their resources, I'm not sure that the federal government is ready for that. Oil and gas, the oil-producing states from the Akwa Ibom to the Delta to all those the PANDEF, right now, the focus of the Nigerian people or the Nigerian economy is focused on the oil and gas. Everybody's benefiting from it, all the 36 states. And that's why the PANDEF is saying, let's have full control of our resources so everybody can cater for what belongs to them so that they are not treated like second-class citizens. So well, if it happens, it's good. But I don't think that the federal government is ready for that. That's my honest truth.
Well, whether the federal government is ready for that conversation or not, because it's one thing that we've been asking for true federalism. You already mentioned the 1966 Republican Constitution. But those who are against the resource control, they argue that states, if you allow states to retain their natural resources, it could exacerbate economic disparities, among or inequalities among all states. For instance, Lagos and River States contributed 1.2 trillion naira in 2023. In IGR in 2023, while northern states, for instance, Yobe, generated 8 billion naira. So they're now asking the question, how do you think this proposal can widen the gap between the resource-rich states and resource-poor states, so that at least we'll have that sense of unity that we've been clamoring for in this country, regardless of the kind of federalism we operate?
So what is very key to establish here is that none of those states that has these mineral resources, none of them wants to feel that they are the one working for others. So the gold in the north, for example, in Kaduna we have gold, in Zamfara we have gold. So the PANDEF and other states feels like only some set of people are the ones benefiting from those golds, not the whole country as it is in the oil and gas producing states. So what I think the government should do is to come up with a template whereby everything is going to be balanced. such that a certain states will not feel like it's just they're producing these things for other states who are not producing as much. That's my honest opinion.
All right, but to come to you on this, I don't think the Southwest governors would agree with you. Right now, they're turning around with what you're saying. And they said that the reason for this, they spoke about insecurity is rising. Yes. They spoke about federal police are too far away and are slow. These are some of the reasons. No, I'm coming. They said state police will know the terrain and the culture. They also went further to say they will protect more lives and businesses. And lastly, they said they will create jobs and empower the locals. And then too much power is concentrated in Abuja. Now, all these reasons they are stated. Are you telling me that these reasons are not tangible enough for this? So
let me tell you. So again, according to our 1999 Constitution, our 1999 Constitution's section 214 to section 215 talked about the establishment of the Nigerian Police Force. And until that constitution is, reviewed, what we have, as of today is still based on the sections of the 1999 Constitution. So if the governors, Southwest governors are clamoring that this will, reduce the insecurity problems and create jobs, yes, like I said, it's a beautiful idea. But again, knowing the status of our political maturity right now, look at what happened in the last local government elections. APC swept almost the whole seats. I mean, are we saying it's only APC that we have that ran for that elections? So I mean, it just tells us that. I mean, I know that it has a lot of advantages, no doubt, no doubt. But I think that again, the disadvantages, in my opinion, outweighs the advantages. But
not to cut you short, you keep speaking about our peculiarities. Yes. Why don't we work on our peculiarities? Why should our peculiarities be the reason why we cannot have state police, and why are we afraid that, politicians will abuse them? Shouldn't the politicians know better?
Yes, so, I mean, you see, our politicians are the ones that, we voted our politicians, particularly our governors. And I understand that a lot of times, when we vote for them, they don't categorically do what they're voted for. Yes, we have some very, very detailed governors that are doing as expected. But in a case where people are voted into office, and when they get it, they're not doing as expected, it's difficult. So it boils down to the accountability system is just poor. So if the governors tells us that they are ready to be accountable and they're not going to abuse power, then why not? I'll subscribe to state
But that's the right thing.
So I'm going to ask you a series of questions where I'll ask you to give me a yes or no before we go into the main question. When a journalist tells you that that's how it's going to be, know that I'm setting a trap.
Yes, please.
It's good, I'm telling you. It's good, I'm telling you.
It's all right.
Do you think the system of government that we are running now in Nigeria is good for Nigeria?
Okay, well...
yes or no?
Yes or no?
Okay, yes.
Okay.
So it's good?
Yes.
Yeah. We're supposed to have a federal system of government, but everything is looking unitary to me. Yeah. And you say it's good?
Okay, so let me tell you, so the system of government...
Do you want to reiterate? Yes or no?
Let's still do the yes or no.
Yes or no? Second chance, you can change your mind.
This is a very hot seat. But you see, we're not where we want to be with our democracy, no doubt.
Yes.
But it's a work in progress.
Okay, what about the Constitution? Do you think the Constitution needs some serious...
It does need a lot of review. I mean, that Constitution was handed over by the military to the then President Olusegun Obasanjo.
So don't you think that what the Southwest governors are pushing for is that constitutional review that they believe will make Nigeria run a true federal system of government?
So I've always clamored for a constitutional review. And the reasons for that is times have changed. When that constitution was, 1999 constitution was written, I mean, a lot of things that was in vogue then are no longer in vogue. And, things have evolved from where we were then and now. Now we're in a jet age. So I think that is due for a review. But we must also be careful to be sure that certain sections of that constitution that we're reviewing are things that will take us forward as a country, not things that we would review for personal gains or personal interest. That's my take.
That's right. So you still come back to the quite interesting thing is that you talked about the Constitution. He asked the question which led you to say the Constitution is okay. But one thing is that former President Olusegun Obasanjo, to whom that Constitution was bequeathed, he said that Nigeria's core challenge is not the 1999 Constitution, itself, but the failure of its operators, that is, political leaders, to implement it with integrity and prioritize citizens' welfare. So there are lawyers who are saying that this constitution is fine. There are others who are saying that this constitution isn't good, because some people just sat down and say, we, the people of, Federal Republic of Nigeria, I said, we were not there. You didn't consult us. So do you agree with former President Olusegun Obasanjo, the old general, as I do call him, that the constitution is perfect, it's okay, we do not need to rejig, and we spend billions of naira trying to, patch and patch?
So I partly agree with former President Olusegun Obasanjo that the constitution is good, but it's not perfect. It's not a perfect document. There are certain sections of the constitutions that are due for review. If you go to sections that have to talk about the Land Use Act, for example, where all lands in the state is vested in the House of Governors, some people in some quarters have reservations regarding that. That why would the governor be in total control of all the lands in the state? And when certain properties are needed for a variety of public interest, not enough compensation is given to landowners. So a lot of people have different reservations about it. But as a country, we must always think through what would take us forward, what would advance us forward as a people, what would make Nigeria become the Nigeria of our dreams. Everybody's clamoring for better Nigeria. We want food, we want good roads, we want light, but we still don't have those things. So if that constitution is going to be reviewed in a way such that the benefit of it will cut across every sector of this country, from those in the grassroots or not. I mean, are
you optimistic, about what the outcome by the patriots, who came together, for the national confab to look at what the constitution is and what the best way forward? Are you optimistic about the results? What it's going to come out at the end of the day? Looking at the 2014 confab that had failed implementation.
Yeah, so again, we've talked about implementation on this table today, and a lot of times when we bring up policies, most of our policies lack implementation. So if that constitution is totally, reviewed, and we don't implement them, it's going to be like a one step forward, 10 steps backwards situation. So it's about implementation and making sure that we implement it to the point that it cuts across every nook and cranny of this country. So I think it will take us forward as a country.
Yeah, but the thing is that I'll say, Mustafa, we cannot lie to the fact that change is constant.
Yes, it
and
is.
Some of these reviews they've spoken about are great ones. We see more involvement of women in politics. There's so many things that will be added to this constitution. But now we're talking about the fact that if it's brought, would we, go with it, or would it stand the test of time? Why is that always the question? If this is brought for a better Nigeria, because we Nigerians always come together and say we want a better Nigeria. So if this constitution is amended for the betterment of Nigeria, why would it not be put in action?
Yeah, so I think the problem is not far-fetched. It's because of the kind of leaders, the quality of leaders we vote into office. If our leaders are ready and if there's a political will to make sure that these things work, then the Nigerians will begin to see the benefit and the dividend of our democracy. There's a small city in Italy called Vatican City where the Pope decide that country is a country of 800 people. They have just about 130 police officers there. That country is peaceful. You
just said 800
people to 150. It's very
it has to be peaceful.
So it's about
the numbers.
It's a unitary system. It's one faith.
Yes.
People bound with similar interests. So of course you do not expect friction compared to.
So let me also tell you.
Over 1,000.
China has a population of 1.4 billion people. The police officers that they have there is fairly about 1.5 million. Is China not a peaceful country? Have you heard about kidnappings? Have you heard about the X-Men clash?
No, but the thing is that most of these things happen, but we may not just hear about them because we don't really consume.
News, so why is everybody hearing about Nigeria?
We don't really consume China news. So these things happen.
So let me tell you. I'm not saying China is a perfect country, but our problems are more popular than theirs. We don't get to hear about
because we talk about it, we amplify it, we make it popular.
Yeah, we don't talk about it.
But we all listen to world news and we see what's going on over the world. So
China has its own problem. If you go to the rural areas in China, you realize that the development only cuts across the cities, not in the rural areas.
I agree with you.
I agree with you.
But what we're saying in essence is that as a country we must think of the people first. Elections and political seats and the country is about the people. If the people you are governing are not happy with your policies and are not happy with the steps you're taking to make the country better, then you must think about it and, you know.
Sorry, and please don't compare China. China is like 5,000 years.
Exactly.
So China side by side, Nigeria is like, you're talking about a great-great-great-grandfather
yes.
and a child. Yes. Do you agree that resource control and state policing is going to push Nigeria towards true federalism, number one, in an advantageous manner? Do you agree?
Okay, yes, I agree.
Okay, good. If that is the case, why do you think that what we should do right now, because of politicians, is to better the police force we have right now, that it's controlled by the federal government? So why are the state governors chief security officers?
Okay, so let me tell you, I saw a comment by one of the spokesmen of Pandev, and I totally want to align my thoughts with him. You see, when you talk about the governor being a chief security officer, you see, according to our 1999 constitution, the president appoints Inspector General of Police by recommendation from Police Council. The Police Council comprises of state governors and the police service commissions. Then the president picks his IGP. But the IGP is the one that appoints commissioner of police for all the states, not the state governor. And that's why we have seen in recent times where there was a video I saw when a certain governor, Babaji Sanwo-Olu, went to a certain estate to douse some tensions about a certain estate, and the presiding officer at that point was having an altercation with the governor, because he's not answerable to the governor, he's answerable to the person at the top, the IG. So that's why I want to say that some governors are clamoring for state policing so they can be in full control of the policing in their states, probably to make the security architecture better. But I think that we should look more outward. So if you are thinking of making security better, in Ondo State they have the Western Network, the Amotekons, and they are collaborating with the security agencies. Lagos State government has the Lagos State Neighborhood Watch, and they are still also collaborating with the security.
But speaking about Amotekun, you know, they've been praised, no doubt. But there is this, you know, report of human rights abuses by some of the operatives, you know, who highly risking poorly regulated state forces. So we may not give them 100% kudos.
No security agency has 100% ratings in Nigeria. Definitely, they are still in the works, and they're getting better. But with the support from I was speaking to somebody like a police officer a few days ago, and he was lamenting about the current state of the police force. This is somebody who is in the house. So when people are not just
what do you mean in the house? You mean in the house?
It's currently a police officer. Currently a police officer. So this is when people are not properly incentivized, when they are not just happy to do the job, you won't get the best from them.
And they look for alternatives.
They look for alternatives, and that's why the day we will stop to see police officers stop to collect bribe or collect handouts in this country. That's when this country. See, let me tell you, Nigerian problem is not just about the about politics. If you want this country to work, we must get it right with our police force. That's the beginning and the end of all the Nigerian problem.
But to just add to what you said, not all. There are still some police officers that are upright and they do not take bribe. Another thing I just wanted to wrap up with this is that I think that we need to kill the ideology that because of our peculiarities we should not implement some things because we are afraid of how our politicians should act. I think that everybody should do the right thing, and if you're a politician and you are given a position, you should not, go overboard with it. You cannot be using state police for your personal self when you know that it's for security of other people.
I agree with you.
All right, beautiful. Mr. Mustafa, it's always amazing to have you on the show. Ewinla, the big leaf himself. Thank you so much for coming. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Well, allegations for new states and true federalism intensifies as lawmakers deliberate